use a quarterback that's a little bit more mobile is something that I'm learning how to manage, and that hopefully I'll be able to employ more efficiently moving forward with Jordan Love.
Coach, tell me, what is it? How I should have had this one better phrased. It didn't want to come out of my head the way I originally wanted it. But what is the real predictions, the real standard for the Steelers moving forward? Are we going to go through a rebuild phase, or can we build on this playoff berth in season 97?
I think that our success this year was a good indication of what's capable in this division. I think had the Browns and possibly the Bengals. I think the Bengals are still in a great position. I mean, they're in the playoffs for the love for the love of God, right there. They made it as a wild card, but or actually no, I think they won the division, right? So I think if the Browns had played stronger this season, the Steelers would not have made the playoffs. I don't think we would have made the playoffs without winning our division matchup against them. Those were two games that we could have easily lost, and had we lost, we wouldn't have been in the playoffs. The Browns would have, in my opinion. So I don't want to look at this as a rebuilding because I think we're capable of being competitive now. We just have to do better. Believe it or not, winning 11 games, um, while while it could be looked at as a something to celebrate, in all actuality, probably three or four of those games were extremely close last minute wins on either Hail Marys or last second field goals where we had to really fight to get into field goal position to put ourselves in a position to win. Those games can easily flip, and my team could have lost four of those 11 games very, very easily. So moving forward, I don't want to look at this as a rebuilding because I can see we're close enough to continue winning. We just have to do a better job on defense, keeping our team from being subject to comebacks, because we did have a few teams do comebacks on us. And also, I need to do a better job of opening games. So many games this cycle, I started from behind. Um, Giggity. I was in a position where I had to make a comeback. If I could do a better job of that in season 98, I think this team is actually a perennial playoff contender.
Coach, one last question before we get into some kind of rapid fire word association. Um, what is the building spot for this team moving forward?
I think for us, like I said, I think the foundation is already there. I think the core positions that I would want to address on offense have already really been addressed. So for me, it's going to be building my coaching staff to get a little bit more benefits there. Building up the defensive line because that's where probably the most of my age and, or not just the most of my age, but uh, the biggest discrepancy between my veterans and my rookies or my young players exist. You know, I'm looking at my roster right now. I have a Cam Hayward who's arguably top top five defensive lineman in the game in terms of ratings, right? But the man's pushing 34, I think. I think he's 34 years old. It's a big gap between him and my backup. So I'm gonna ride. I'm gonna use him until he retires, and once he leaves, I got to be able to find the next man up who can actually be competitive in that position. Same thing could be said for Tuitt. Same thing could be said for Alualu. All three of my starters on the defensive line are 28 or older. So building in the trenches, which has always been a philosophy of mine, is important. Um, and then building elsewhere in the defense as well.
All right, Coach, thank you for your time tonight. We're going to go to some quick rapid fire word association. Just tell me the first word or phrase that pops up into your head when I say things like the AFC,
Underrated.
PlayStation 5,
Too damn expensive.
your division,
Top notch.
the NFC,
Championship pedigree.
cornerback play,
Any other year I would have said fun, but this year challenging.
last one, the OMFL.
It is release or relaxation. And I need this league.
Coach Jason, you're officially off the OMFL Hot Seat. Thank you again for joining us tonight. Happy birthday, man. Are we brave enough to say how old we are?
Yeah, so I can say this because I just did the math. Somebody else asked me and put me on the spot.
Yeah, I got to do that all the time.
Yeah, I'll be 42. It is 2021, right? So 42.
You're just a pup.
Yeah, I'm just a youngin.
Yeah, me and you, same age. So I got to do it all the time. I'm like, Tiff, how old am I? Oh, yeah. That's right. That's how old I am. Well, thank you again for joining us on your birthday. Give Mrs. Vertigo a big hug from the OMFL, because as much as this league, you need this league needs you, and we appreciate you being here. So thank you for taking some time to be with us tonight.
Thank you.
All right, there you have it, Coach Clyde, Coach Jason, the Steelers owner, whatever you want to call him. I'm going to let you call him that stuff. I just love this guy. I've got lots of respect for him. And while all this was going on, Raj, this whole time, I was fighting my internet. This is the tough thing about living in a disaster zone, is that sometimes things just don't work. And for the last 4 days around here, the internet has been complete caca. And we were good until about halfway through my hot seat with Coach Jason, and then it went to poop. So I took it down, but I did start recording it, and so I'm going to blend the two together in a nice final product later on, but we are recording. Let me welcome in my buddy, Raj. Raj, how are you doing tonight, buddy?
Hey, good evening, guys. How's everybody?
I think it is a good night. I'm not coughing, which is a good thing. I've got enough medication in me to kill a horse. My wife is trying to force me to go to the doctor, and I told her that's why we have insurance. She said, yes, that's why we have insurance. I said, no, life insurance. That way, if I don't make it, you're going to be okay. The house will be okay. The kids will be okay. Everybody's going to be fine. So we got the OMFL playoffs to talk about tonight, and man, what a playoffs it has been. This one had some drama going into it, with the Saints and Falcons playing with a bunch of teams on the line about who would get in and who would get out. And well, I'm still real butthurt about what Madden did to me on that game. So if you have any questions about it, go back and watch that. And that kind of set me into a mood. I think we played on, I can't remember what day that was. Thursday? Yeah, because I was off on Thursday. So we played on Thursday. And I had some other things happen to me that week. And that's why I'm kind of glad that I drank this whole cup of honey lemon tea that has mellowed me out. I don't know what that medicine over there is, some inhaler situation that makes me dizzy that my wife made me take, because I've mellowed out. Because I promised Raj, I wanted to fire this up today, and it would have been so easy to just let her rip and just like show my bad side of myself and not be a good leader and just let people know how they make me feel, because it's the internet, right? And we can do that on the internet. We can just like say things because we don't have real relationships. But if anybody knows me, I'm not like that. And so I'm glad that I'm mellowed out, but I may go on a rant before this thing's over with. But there's good hope that I'll never get there, because there's a zillion things to talk about, Raj. Let's start in the AFC. We got the Jaguars, the number 1 seed, the Chargers, the number 2 seed. I always mess that up. I'm like, wait, who are they again? the number 3 seed Bengals, the number 4 seed Dolphins, the number 5 seed Ravens, the number 6 seed Steelers, and then the number 7 seed Titans. A really good race there. Titans kind of in and out all season. Ravens had a great season get there, but then he went on vacation for the playoffs and didn't get to play any of these, which caused its own drama that I'm not going to talk about. I will say this, Raj, and then we're going to talk about these playoffs. Raj, I need the men in this league. I wish we had women. I've always said that. I wish we had more women gamers in this community, but we don't. And so right now I can say, men, I need you to start acting like men and like be adults. Go figure out your own stuff and stop blaming me and the rest of the board who work for free, who put in myself, I'm putting in 40, 45 hours a week into this league. Raj and Dwayne and Wynn and Denbrew and Koch and Lost and like all these dudes for free are doing a bunch of work so that you have an enjoyable experience for free. Most of you have not even donated this Madden. Some of you have, and some of you have been super generous, and I'm so very thankful, but this is a free league that you get to enjoy, and these men give their time for free. So stop snapping off in chat and coming to us because you two can't be adults and A, figure out schedules and communicate, and B, stop trying to get free wins and push for quick plays. I'm about over it. It ain't happening next Madden. I've already told Denbrew, none of you get a CPU game in the first 24 hours. You need physical proof, a photo showing that the other guy says you can play the CPU. That is the only way we will set them because I am just over it. And I'm really disappointed in a handful of owners. And see, Raj, I said I wasn't going to rant. I'm talking myself up into one. Let's get back to these playoffs. Titans and Chargers in week number 1, 28-38. The Chargers come out in a great one. Did you get to watch this one at all?
I did not.
I didn't either, but it looks like a high-scoring game, right? Tennessee comes back in the fourth quarter. They put up 14 in the fourth quarter. It was the 2 middle quarters, though, that put up 28 points for the Los Angeles Chargers. That's so hard for me to say even still today. 303 rushing yards from the Chargers. What, like, it's like the stats got flip-flopped in this game, and the Chargers come out with a big victory.
Game. I'm sure that was not how Colin planned that.
It can't be how Colin planned that, but he proved me wrong. I was really disappointed in his team. We're going to talk about that a little later because he's getting me excited about him again. But watching him lose that game in week number 17, we got to call that one in OMFL Live, or week 18. It was just a disappointment to see. Then you got the Bengals and the Steelers, a 20-17 victory for the Cincinnati Bengals. Denbrew coming out with a victory against a very tough opponent. And you can see Clyde really jammed on those brakes there in the second half, only allowing 7 points in the second half of that game, scoring 14 in the third quarter. But that fourth quarter, neither team could get it across the goal line. No points scored. Steelers fall by 3 points, 97 rushing yards to 81. So neither team could get the ball really going, but only 150 passing yards for a total of 296 to 461. So really a dominant defensive standout game from the Cincinnati Bengals.
I think that was played in the snow too, wasn't it?
Oh, that's right, because Denbrew was yapping about his players losing a bunch of like overalls and XPs, and he couldn't figure it out. And then he said,
they all took negative hits because they played in a blizzard.
Yeah, so if I could jump in.
Please jump in. I didn't even know you were here.
Yeah. Every single time you have a blizzard situation, if you see a scenario about it, don't press on it, because I think the impact was on defense. Every player lost 10 towards tackling, pursuit, and a couple other, like 3 or 4 critical areas. They had negative 10, but it was for both teams, and you felt it. It was hard making direction changes with players. If you weren't running an inside zone or a straight line with a player, you could forget having any cutback opportunities because it was like moving in mud.
I kind of love that though, but from a user experience, how'd you leave feeling that?
So historically, I think I mentioned this in the hot seat. Historically, um, I have had a hard time with playing Denbrew because I usually start slow with him.
Me
He
too.
is difficult to figure out. And by the time you figure it out, if you've let him get enough points to get enough of a cushion, it'll be difficult to try to make a comeback against him because he's a very stingy player on defense. That was kind of amplified when I played in the snow because what would have normally been an explosive play. I see, let's say, a cover one shell press coverage, and I'm in a specific set. I'm like, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to audible to this play. I got it in my bag, right? It wasn't going to work as well because my receivers had a harder time getting off the line where they wouldn't have, and their cuts weren't as exaggerated as they normally would have been. And when the defense is playing face up to you, they are actually, I'm not going to say at an advantage, but they are right there to make a play where they might have not been before because your receivers are not going to create the separation like they would have. So if you're ever playing in those environments, gentlemen, just keep that in mind. What might have worked before, those explosive one-cut separations that you would get from your receivers, or these halfback cutback plays that you would use to burn a over pursuing linebacker. You might not have the same success when you're playing in a what they call a blizzard scenario.
Well, there you have it. That's the lucky thing that I play down in the South, and we have a dome. I don't have to hopefully ever worry about that unless I get to the OMFL Bowl, which, let's be honest, that's only happened one time in the 20 years I've been here. Then we've got the Miami Dolphins falling to the CPU Ravens, Baltimore Ravens. Nichols was gone on vacation. He was out, and so he allowed him to play the CPU, and our wires got crossed with Ross, and he thought he had to keep playing strict FPR against the CPU, and I'm like, no, just win, just beat they cheat, they play all shotgun, they do all kinds of just beat the team, you're in the playoffs. He lost. It's happened, we've seen it before. Trey and his Lions a couple seasons ago lost to the CPU Cardinals. And so that set up a really weird next round scenario. I'm over it. And there's a lot that I'm over. It sets up the Jacksonville Jaguars, there's the name, against the Baltimore Ravens. Nichols was gone for 2 more days before he would return, which would be the last day of advance. The Jaguars messaged me. I said, go talk to Denbrew. I, on the surface, don't have a problem with it. He's gone for 2 more days. He shouldn't have been in the game anyway. The Dolphins should have won anyway. He goes to Denbrew. I'm assuming this. Don't quote me. Denbrew felt the same way. We're not going to wait to the very last day of the 3-day advance for a guy who's not in town, for a guy who shouldn't have been in this game. And boy, Nichols just didn't like it. And Brady didn't communicate with Nichols. Their lines got crossed. Nichols felt like we should have waited. Brady played the CPU. He got a free pass. He's off to the AFC Championship game. You've already heard my rant, so I'm not going to spend any more time with it. But I will say, we got to pump the brakes on because it's not just Brady. Brady gets flack for it because Brady doesn't hide what he tries to do. He wants to quick play. We are a 3-day advance league. No one owes you a quick play. No one owes you to play on the same night. Our friend Bill, right? We know how Bill feels about scheduling. Guys are allowed to use 3 days, and we're burning some of the teams out already in season 1 because some of us want a quick play, and you need to pump the brakes. I want to say more, but I'm not going to because it's going to feel like a shot, and I don't want to take shots. So we just keep this truck moving. We're gonna go to the San Diego. See, I did it. I knew it. I can't stop myself. The LA Chargers against the Cincinnati Bengals. Chargers coming out of that one 26-17. They put up hardly anything in the second half. Bengals really tightened it up, but they already got out to the big lead in the first half. Bengals put up 14 in the second half, but it's not enough. The Chargers run away with this one. This one looks a little bit more like what we expect from Colin. Only 195 passing yards, but he only had 97 rushing yards. The yards gained were 293 to 427. It's the 5 turnovers, though. This game, more than anything, you cannot turn the ball over and expect to win. It's just not going to happen. Any thoughts about this game, Raj? Or Cloud, if you're still around.
I did not watch I didn't get a chance to watch it, so I really can't say much other than turnovers will kill you. I went through that all season long. Turnovers
can't do
are a
it.
killer.
Cannot do it. You cannot do it. You cannot do it. So that's going to set up the Chargers versus the Jaguars in the AFC Championship game. That should be a good one. It should be strength versus strength. Again, the Chargers made me kind of like question them watching that Week 18 game against the Raiders. I don't know what the deal was there still today. He's not going to be able to do that. The Jaguars are rolling right now. They've been rolling all season. You cannot fall behind early. You cannot turn the ball over, and Colin will do that. He's going to need a balanced attack facing the Jacksonville Jaguars. Any thoughts about the Jaguars and Chargers AFC game?
It's going to be a tough matchup. If Colin can balance and get half the running yards he got in the wild card round, he should be okay. But Brady's on a mission. He's looking for a title, and he's going to be tough to stop.
Who wins that one?
Jacks by 2.
Coach Jason, are you still with us? I want to find out who you think is going to win Jacksonville Chargers.
Oh, so, I have not had an opportunity to play either one of them this cycle. So what I've seen, though, it'd be hard to bet against Brady. I think him having a bit of momentum coming into the playoffs, he was on a hot streak. It's hard to bet against him. But at the same time, I think there's that AFC South history there that makes it so that Colin's he's gonna know some tricks. He's gonna know something about his opponent that I think he's gonna bring to the fold, and it's gonna be a close game. It's a push, but I'll say Brady if we spot him 3 points. It'll be Brady.
All right, we're already way over our time. We have so much more to go. Let's hop over to the NFC. The number 1 seed Lions, the number 2 seed Cardinals, number 3 seed Dallas Cowboys, number 4 seed Atlanta Falcons, number 5 seed Vikings, 6 seed Giants, 7 seed Panthers. Why am I reading all this to y'all? You can see it I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. Okay, this is only my 226th show that I'm doing. I should be better. I apologize. I'll get better. We have a great matchup. Panthers, Cardinals, new guy. Black Nation, Panther Nation, Black Cat, something like that. Now, he's got 2 different names, but Panther Nation facing the big guy D-Money, multiple championships, kind of a dynasty here. He was humbled pretty quickly, 45-10. Did anybody get to see this game?
No, I didn't get. I haven't had a chance to watch any of these.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch many of these either. I just got to catch a few snippets of a few games. Coach Jason?
Yeah, I watched maybe about 4 possessions of that game. Watching Panthers games are tough for me because he likes that different camera view, that camera perspective.
Oh yeah.
So I watched it right in the middle when it started to get away from him, and it was just turnovers. D-Money has Everyone knows by now he has a very stingy defense that's opportunistic, and it showed in that game.
Guys, he had 246 total yards. 138 were kick returns. He had 104 offensive yards gained. He gave up 38 points in the middle two quarters. That is not a formula for winning football anywhere that you play, but the OMFL will humble you sometimes. And then we had a really great game, one I wish I could have called, and one I did watch, the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. These guys went back and forth. This was a very close game. It got away from the Giants late in this one, but it goes back to turnovers. Both teams are turning the ball over. The Giants turned it over 6 times. That ended up being the death of them, but a great season for Pepper. This was a fun game, much more fun than the score would show, 31-17. Any thoughts about the Giants and Cowboys? All righty. Well, then we'll keep this truck moving. The Vikings beat they beat the Atlanta Falcons 30-27. He puts up 20 points in the second half. The Falcons put up 21, so both teams struggled to score in the first half. It was a 10-6 game, and then explodes for a 30-27 victory for the Minnesota Vikings. 341 passing yards. His new quarterback, rookie quarterback, Massey, has stepped right in where his Hall of Famer left off and has been playing exceptionally well. Only one turnover in this game. 341 offensive yards for the Falcons to 405 for the Minnesota Vikings, 19 first downs. And these two teams went at it, and this would be step one in the Vikings really proving themselves this Madden, because as I've said in chat, the only thing I think that matters to Maniac is not creating content, is not being like a real part of the community. He just wants to win a championship. I mean, I love you, Maniac, if you watch this, but that is the only thing that matters to you, is awards and championships, which hurts me a little bit in my heart because you're such a great content creator. But you're well on your way now after a 30-27 victory against the Atlanta Falcons, and that set up 2 really great games, one of which has not been played yet. And I'm not sure, maybe y'all know when it will be played, but let's talk about the Vikings beating the Lions. Say that again, Raj?
Tomorrow afternoon is Cowboys Cardinals.
Tomorrow afternoon, hopefully, afternoon. Maybe it's after I get off work, and then maybe I could call it, because that would be a fun one. But the stunner of all of this, I think a lot of us agreed, the Lions and the Jaguars were the two teams coming into the playoffs with the most momentum. Trey and Brady have been very outspoken against me in a lot of things this season. They've been very outspoken about trying to win it all this year, quote unquote, gaining respect, which is a fake facade made up thing that none of us could actually define because it sounds and looks and feels different to all of us in different cultures. But for some reason, it's something that we all want in the OMFL, which is still funny to me. You see how I'm trying not to rant. I want to rant, but I'm trying not to rant. I think we can pick up on the owners who have gotten under my skin this week, but Trey has had a kryptonite all season, and it's been the Vikings. And I can't figure out for the life of me why, but the Vikings have been his kryptonite. They scored 9 points in the fourth quarter. He didn't score any. That gives the Vikings a 29-17 victory. He had trouble rushing the ball. He had trouble not turning it over. Give it to the Minnesota Vikings. 1 turnover this entire playoffs, and he's knocked off 2 of the top teams in the AFC with the Atlanta Falcons and the Detroit Lions. This is not the conversation I expected to be having. I thought Trey was going to steamroll all the way into a championship game in the NFC, and just depending on what matchup that he was going to get there. But here we are. The Vikings are really making us all eat our own shoe here. Any thoughts about the Vikings beating the Lions?
Didn't this guy, in week 7 or something, holler he didn't care anymore?
He did. Same guy. Doesn't care about winning, but yet he's winning.
Yeah, I don't care.
And he's trying to sell me on. I think he's trying to sell himself, because I don't know, he can't sell me. But this whole idea that all of a sudden you don't care about winning and that's why you're winning is BS. What you're not doing is you're not turning the ball over. You're sticking to a game plan and you're playing better football. That's why you're winning, not because you don't care about winning.
I will say this. I feel the junkiest team in the league. And if I don't turn the ball over, I can compete every week. But if I make mistakes or turn the ball over, it gets out of hand quick.
It does.
So if you can control the turnovers, you're good.
Jason,
I'll say this.
First,
Yeah,
I meant to say this real quick. Before we did Hot Seat, thank you for your service. You're a veteran, and I know I don't know if you share that or not. Maybe I shouldn't have. You can hit me later, but you're one of the guys I respect so much here because of your pretty level-headedness outside of that whole NFC, AFC thing you got caught up on, which was weird to me, but hey, whatever it takes for us to have some chat content. I want to hear your thoughts on this game, but give me your thoughts about this whole I don't care about winning statement phrase, putting a stake in the ground about this in chat.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
I'll say this about Maniac from what I've known with playing with him in OMFL and all my time with him in the Deuce. He is one of the more cerebral players that I've played, whereas he understands which coverage he wants to apply in specific situations when he's on defense, when it's a third and long, right? When it's certain go-to plays for certain players, he knows what he wants to do. He scouts his opponents, right? So he understands, oh, this person is running they like to run crossers or they like to run a flood concept and what defense is good against them. He also knows a little bit about how to employ specific offenses in specific situations. So when he says that he doesn't care anymore, what I'm really seeing is he doesn't find anything to be motivated about in the moment. He wasn't seeing it. He didn't have anything to motivate him to do that level of scouting that I've seen him do before, or at least be engaged with game planning like he was before. I think we are seeing a more focused Maniac in that he has now relinquished the desire to win at all costs. Because again, and I know you'll know this, Nate, when he loses, like a few other people here, when he loses, he's all out, right?
Yeah, losing hurts worse than winning feels good for some of these guys.
Exactly. And I think if he falls in that position, I think he's starting to understand that losing is a part of the game that can't get you that can't remove you from your desire to win, right? You should want to win because it feels good to win and you enjoy to play the game. And if losing derails you from the desire of trying again, then you're doing it wrong. And I think he's starting to realize he can't do it that way. You can't go in there believing that if I lose, what is this game for? I shouldn't be playing. It sucks, like some other owners do, and start to just completely dismantle yourself. I think he's taken a little bit of this reverse reverse psychology, mental judo to kind of say, yeah, I don't care. I kind of flipped it on his head. I don't care anymore. But look out for the rest of the league, specifically D Money. Look out when Maniac is focused. He is a force to be reckoned with. I am telling you from my time in the Deuce, he has gotten my number because I knew when he was dialed in, because he would always hand it to me. So
here's my problem, Jason. Say it to yourself. Don't come making proclamations in my chat about it, and because it makes people feel yucky. It's the saying "good game" in the third quarter of a game. It makes the guy on the other side feel like he's done something wrong, or the message of I don't think I can play this game anymore after they lose. I think I'm gonna retire. I think it's past me. I'm so over it. I'm just here's my problem. Again, it's not fair. I'm willing to let it rip on Maniac and not on the other two that I'm really annoyed with right now, because I love Maniac and I see so much greatness in Maniac as far as what he can contribute to the league and what he contributes to the community as a human. Just really, truly one of the sweetest, kindest humans that we have here, but also is mental mush sometimes. And this idea that like he won a championship in the deuce and then immediately makes 2 graphics with a bunch of empty blocks to fill in for his championships. You're telling me what is the only thing that matters to you, winning championships. When you say in the chat, what you think about me matters more than anything. You're just, it's not the point of the OMFL. The OMFL, yes, we win and we compete and we enjoy winning and we enjoy competition, but it's about community. It's about content. It's about an engaging experience. And like, I just get annoyed when we have to make these proclamations that no one believes. No one believes it. He's saying it for himself, which is fine, but say it to yourself. Write it on a sticky note and put it on your TV every time you play. Don't come in my chat saying that you don't care about winning and now you're the NFC Championship with a bunch of banners with blank spots for your championships. Like, it just annoys me. Like, we don't have to do that. I get annoyed by the woe is me. I get annoyed by the Eeyores in our league that, we're 9-7. We're 1 game from the playoffs, but I'm going to talk about how terrible I am. Like, it's just like, I'm over it. I'm over it. It's bad energy. It's bad karma. It's just bad. Ugh. I'm just over it. So my rant is over. Give me a prediction. Who wins Dallas and Arizona, and then who wins out of that prediction against the Minnesota Vikings to face what you both said is going to be Brady and the Jacksonville Jaguars? And I tend to believe.
I haven't played D-Wayne yet this cycle. I did play D-Money, and he waxed me. So, based on sincerely on what I saw when I played against him, I've got to go with D-Money there in tomorrow's game. And I didn't play Maniac this cycle yet, so I'm gonna put my money on the Cardinals right now. And then that Super Bowl call, that's tough. I think Brady's on a mission, and I don't see how he's going to get stopped. So
Jason,
I think Brady's going to get his title.
Give me a prediction: Dallas, Arizona, and then that winner against the Minnesota Vikings. Who's going to go face Brady?
I think I will put my money on Arizona. I think if Dallas wins that game, I think they will probably win against Minnesota, and make their way straight to the championship. But I just don't see Dallas making it past there. I really do, but I don't see Dallas making it past Arizona. I don't see that. I think Arizona is going to win, and if they do, I think it's going to be a really tight game between Minnesota and Arizona. I am seeing something in the Vikings. It's just making it difficult for me to bet against them, at least to make it to the championship. I don't think they'll make it past Brady. I think Brady has another level of motivation that I've seen only one other time in my time in OMFL. He didn't win a championship that year, but when he won, and he let you know, like he said before in PPLs, I am coming to run the ball, and I am coming to stop you on defense, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do, and I'm still going to get it done. That kind of machismo, right? That's something that you get when you have your eyes focused on the prize. So it's going to be a really tight game. I think Jags and Vikings, but I think Vikings are going to come out on top and win the championship.
Yeah, I got to go Arizona to beat Dallas just because Dallas has not played typical Dallas football. He turns the ball over way more than usual. Anytime you lose to Nate, that's not a bad sign for the rest of your season, but D-Wayne's D-Wayne, and he can step into this thing and shock us all. But I got to go where what I'm seeing with my eyes. And right now, Arizona just put a whooping on the Carolina Panthers, and Dallas has been turning the ball over a lot and did against the Giants for some weird reason. I see Arizona coming out of that game and sets up an interesting game, one that you would say on paper, and this, here I go again. This is why I've been ranting, because one of the guys that I had it in with this week, listen, if a guy wins 6 out of 7 championships, he's going to get talked about. He's going to get elevated to a special spot in this league that is going to be kind of the gold standard of what we think a dynasty is. That's not weird of me. We think the same for New England in the NFL, and they didn't win 7 out of 8. So pump the brakes on this whole, like, all I respect is D Money or D Wayne, and I don't respect anybody else. Again, you're making this up in your head for motivation. Don't do it to me. Just do it in your head if you need to do that. But I can't not acknowledge what the Vikings are doing. He just took out the Atlanta Falcons and Kobe and the Detroit Lions, who he beat twice in the last, 5 or 6 weeks, whatever it's been. That's impressive. And he's going up against a buzzsaw who quietly has had a dynamic season here. And this would be one of the hardest roads to make it to the OMFL Bowl we've ever seen. As a 5th seed, going through the 4th seed on the road, going through the number 1 seed on the road. Now you're going to go through the number 2 seed on the road. I'm gonna hope with my heart. I don't know who's gonna win. I tend to think the Cardinals, but I can't deny what I'm seeing with my eyes. I'm hoping for the Vikings. I'm pulling for the Vikings because at least I'll get the the maniac Brady Super Bowl, and at least one of these guys can back the hell off of this whole winning a championship thing here. At least I'll have one. I don't have to worry about hearing from again about not having a championship here. So please, for the love of everything that is Madden, let D Money get sick that day. Let Maniac have a perfect game plan. Just give me a Vikings Jaguars OMFL Bowl. It'll be fresh. It'll be some new faces we haven't seen there in a long time. It'll just feel good. And as a commissioner, I won't have to hear it, at least for one of those teams. They're going to have an OMFL trophy sitting on their dresser drawer somewhere, and we can move on. So that is the longest hot seat and look at the playoffs that we could ever have. Now we're going to turn our attention to a really fun thing that was put together by Raj and his team over the last couple of, weeks, really. So we're going to look at a couple of the top 25 draft prospects. Now, again, for some of you hopping in and out of the chat, I see you kind of coming and going. We had to take the live one down because the internet took a douche on itself for some weird reason. I was trying to say deuce, but it came out douche. But you get the point, right? It pooped itself. Something has happened in the last 4 days around here. It's still a disaster zone. There's just no telling what happened, and it's been poop. And so it pooped on itself. I had to take it down. We're recording it. This will go up, and then I'll take both the recordings. I'll edit them together, and hopefully I'll have one good one. But anyway, we're now going to talk about some draft prospects. I know y'all can't see these, but Raj has his own. And so we're going to run through some of these really quick. We cannot spend 55 minutes on every single one of these because there's 25. And I told Raj, if we spent 1 minute, it's going to take 30 minutes to get through this whole thing. We can't do that. It's too much. But he put in so much great work. We're going to make sure to share this out to the rest of the community so that you can see this yourself. We'll put it on Twitter. Raj, make sure that you make a post. Let's run through the first 10 or the first 15, I should say, and we'll spend a little bit more time for the back 10. Number 25, Cameron Rudolph, defensive tackle out of USC. Raj, give me one good thing about this guy that we need to keep an eye on.
He's bulldozer strong.
Bulldozer strong. Somebody's going to get him a really good defensive tackle here in the last half of that draft. Number 24, Greg Wheaton, a cornerback out of Texas. Small guy at 5'9", but 207. Give me one good thing about Mr. Wheaton.
Really good in run support.
Good run support guy and can run a little bit. Number 23, Levi Hartley, middle linebacker out of Tennessee. One of my favorite players in this draft. 6'3", 234. Give me a really good thing about Mr. Hartley.
He diagnoses the play so fast. Gets to the ball. He's there. And he's like his reaction time is just fanatical.
He's going to be a player here. I really believe that. Leo Barber, a middle linebacker out of USC, 6'1", 242. Give me something good about Mr. Leo.
He's sideline to sideline ability. The guy is on it. He's had 120 tackles a season over the last 2 seasons. He's there.
Number 21, Phillip Mcmillan, a quarterback out of NC State. I think this is actually a really good draft. We're going to see good quarterbacks even into the 3rd round. Give me something good about Mr. McMillan.
This guy is a Phillip Rivers clone.
Not a bad comparison if you're looking for a quarterback of the future. Number 20, Danny Steckler, left tackle out of FSU, 324. Give me something about Mr. Danny.
He's got great feet in pass blocking. He handles both the power and finesse rushes very well.
Number 19. Go ahead, Raj.
He's going to slide right in there and anchor that spot for 10 years for somebody.
Not a bad pick at number 20. Number 19, Trevon Barnett, middle linebacker out of Cal, 6'1", 237. Give me something great about Mr. Barnett.
His pass coverage in man coverage with tight ends and running backs out of the backfield is second to none.
Number 18 is Amani Conway, cornerback out of Indiana. So we're getting a fun mixture of players here. 6'3", 183. Give me something about Mr. Conway.
Elite speed for a big guy.
He is going to go early in this draft just because of that. Number 17, Parker Allen, middle linebacker out of Washington, 6'2", 249. Give me something about Mr. Parker Allen.
He's got a nose for the ball. He's always there. He's going to make a play. His play rec and pursuit and play rec and awareness are off the charts.
Number 16, Harold Durant, defensive tackle out of Ohio State, 6'3", 307 for a defensive tackle. Give me something about Mr. Durant.
He's got size and speed combo. This guy, even at 6'3", 307, he can play a 1, he can play a 3, he can play a 5 technique. Wherever you need him, he is there.
I love the comparison of Deshaun Hand. That's a good comparison there. James Dunn, defensive tackle out of Florida, coming in at number 15, 6'3", 307. Give me something about Mr. Dunn.
He is same as the last guy. He's got plenty of elite speed. He's there up and down the line. He can play any position. He's got bull rush. He's got finesse move. This guy is he's a defensive nightmare.
Coming in at number 14, Jalen Hayden, wide receiver out of UCLA, 6'4", 222. Give me something you like about Jalen.
He's an elite route runner. He can run every route on the tree. Doesn't have the elite speed, but he can make every route, every cut.
Do you believe that's something that can still work even in the OMFL?
I think so. It's tough. It's tougher because everybody wants that guy with the 97 speed, but red zone, a 6'4" guy that can jump through the rafters. I'll take it.
Coming in at number 13, David Curtin, right in out of Fresno State, 6'1", 252. Tell me something about Mr. Curtin.
His first step rivals anybody in the league.
That's going to be fun to see line up.
Quick. Yeah, he's going to scare some left tackles.
Coming at number 12, Raymond Gatewood, wide receiver out of Washington, 5'8", 191. Mo is waking up somewhere on this planet getting excited about Mr. Gatewood at 5'8". Give me something you like about Gatewood.
He's got speed for days. He's Hollywood Brown in a Washington Redskins uniform.
Coming in at number 11, Chris Lopez, defensive tackle out of Florida. 6'3", 296. Florida clearly had a great defensive line. Give me something you like about Mr. Lopez.
This guy does the dirty work. He's down in the middle, and he eats up blocks so that the linebackers can make plays. He's got a great power move.
Coming in at number 10, Glenn Kane, right in out of Temple, 6'3", 250. They say it doesn't matter where you play, the OMFL will find you. Glenn Kane coming in at number 10 proves that. Give me something you like about Glenn Kane. Glenn Kane, we'll spit it out.
Instincts and football IQ are right there with the tops of the class.
Coming in at number 9, we'll slow down at number 5. Go ahead, Raj.
His play rec and awareness he's just there. There's no slowing this guy down.
Coming in at number 9, Emmanuel Wall, left guard out of Notre Dame, 6'2", 323. What do you like about Mr. Wall?
Oh gosh, hang on one sec.
What a great name for an offensive lineman to play left guard for your team, Wall.
He's got great footwork in both pass and run block. He's got great footwork. He doesn't get tripped up. He's not your typical rookie that's going to stumble and make dumb mistakes and get caught out of position. This guy is there.
Joe Belfort, right tackle out of Washington, 6'4", 313. What do you like about Belfort?
This guy's a mauler. He's just a big, beefy mauler. He's going to pound people until they just don't want to walk anymore.
Coming in at number 7, Darius Ridley, tight end out of Notre Dame, 6'5", 253. It's a big boy. What do you like about Ridley?
He runs super clean routes.
I love the comparison of Jared Cook as well. Coming at number 6, and then we'll slow down a little bit. Elliott Nichols, quarterback out of USF, 6'3", 228, kind of a prototypical NFL quarterback. What do you like about Mr. Nichols?
He can make every throw. He's got a cannon for an arm. The guy hits all the marks, checks all the boxes. He's for the comparison, I really like the comparison here. He's a Joe Flacco. When Flacco was, 3 years in the league, when the Ravens were chasing Super Bowls, he's that guy.
Coming in at number 5, we'll slow down just a little bit here. Ty Ridgeway, center out of Auburn. Again, shout out to Raj and Wynn for working on this. Raj put in all this work. It just looks really great. 6'1", 301. The pro comparisons to Alex Mack, that's not a bad comparison. Talk through some of these pros and cons about Ty Ridgeway.
Well, he's got great athleticism. I know the draft board says he's a 2 to 3. This guy's measurables jump off the page. So he's worth a whole lot more than that second to third round pick. He's nasty. He's a mauler. He's not afraid to hurt people. He gets drive blocks. Got great awareness. He knows what's coming. He can pick up the blitzes. He can read the defense as well as the quarterback.
I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but you said that he was kind of rated 2 to 3. Where do you think this kid will actually get drafted in the OMFL?
Probably later, half of the first round. Somewhere between 21 and 26, maybe 27.
All right, coming in at number 4, Ronald Dunn, right tackle out of UCF. Very offensive lineman heavy. If you need an offensive lineman, this might be the draft for you to go get that done. 6'5", 307. Juan Taylor is the pro comparison. Talk through some of the pros and cons of Mr. Dunn.
His hang-up is he doesn't do real well with speed rushers coming off the edge. He's got great technique against power rushers. He's got a great first step. He's got balance. He plays with a nasty streak. He can run block all day long. he'll lead the stretch play around the corner. He can do the off tackle plays. He just doesn't handle those super speed guys real well.
What are some of the things that are going to make this guy an elite right tackle?
His nasty streak, his ability to just plow people over in the run game. He's like like one of the guys earlier. He's the bulldozer. He's going to knock people down. There's going to be a lane there, and you get him on a linebacker, or God forbid somebody's trying to pop a safety on the corner there. Those guys are just going to get pancaked into the pavement.
Where does this kid go in the OMFL draft? Where do you think he gets drafted?
There's a bunch of teams looking for that need O-line help. Maybe mid-first round.
Do we see an offensive lineman go in the top 5 here?
I believe so. And the reason I say that is because you've got a couple teams that are up there that are going to have. You got a team or two up there that already has their quarterback, so they don't need to run. They don't need to go quarterback. And if you have a spot on your team that you need an offensive tackle, either of these next two guys are just jump off the page.
Well, let's talk about one of them. Number 3, Kyron Kidd, right tackle out of Boise State, 6'6", 311. Pro comparison, Mike McClinchy. There's a name for you. Give me some pros and cons about Kidd.
He's elite measurables across the board. He's got the strength. He's got speed combination. He can do power. He can do a pulling. He can pull. He can lead a sweep. He's got a big, tall frame. He can engulf run block. He can engulf people on the other side of the field and just make them look like they don't exist. He led the Mountain West with 41 pancake blocks. I mean, this guy just knocks people down. The only downside to him is if he gets beat, or if he thinks he's getting beat on a pass rush, he'll get a little grabby. And penalties aren't as strong here as what they have been in previous years, but he can draw a flag.
Well, let's talk about number 2. We're staying with the offensive lineman, very offensive lineman on this big board. Number 2, Doug Pritchard, right tackle out of Ohio State, 6'4", 317. Pro comparison, Lane Johnson, not a bad comparison there. Sounds like a lot of plug-and-play right tackles and guards here in this draft. Talk to me about Doug Pritchard.
This guy has, and I know I've said this a couple times already, but it's just the way that this draft ranked out. These guys have elite measurables. He's got strength. He's got speed. He's got change of direction. And hell, you could probably plug him in as a third tight end if you teach him how to catch.
Where's he going to struggle in the OMFL?
The thing that he's going to struggle with, and he's probably not going to struggle here because it doesn't get called very much, but he's nasty, and he'll get in trouble with emotions clouding his judgment and being a little too rough. I don't see that being a problem here because they don't call personal fouls on offensive tackles. But he's the guy that will knock a guy down and then step on his chest.
Is he the first offensive lineman taken in this draft?
He should be.
There you have it. Let's get to our number 1 prospect on Buckman's big board. And so sorry that Buckman couldn't be here. We started a little early. I told him to come join us. He couldn't, so maybe just family time took over. Kenny Dickerson, quarterback out of Penn State, 6'1", 218, a little smaller than what we've seen from that prototypical big, tall quarterback, but earned him number 1 on this list coming out of Penn State. Talk to me about Dixon.
This guy is he looks like Steve Young just stepped in a time machine. And the guy's got every above and beyond every player in the draft. The closest on the athletic and skill quotient, he outscored everybody by 8 points. There's no one even close to this guy. He's got the arm. He can run. And this guy's, wherever he lands, he's going to anchor a position for this entire cycle and probably next cycle because he'll be somebody's import.
Where's the struggle going to be for Dixon?
I don't know that he's going to have one. I mean, in NFL talks, it would be passing lanes because of his height. But is that really a problem?
Do you think there'll be fumble issues, especially with a mobile quarterback?
I don't think so. No more so than with Lamar or Trey Lance. I mean, it's not going to be any worse than those guys. And he's got elite level speed. He's right up there with those guys. He's going to be, a 87, 88 speed guy.
Well, tell me just kind of your last overall thoughts about Buckman's big board top 25. Are we going to see any more of this? We're going to put out like some predictions. Like, tell me what's coming in the next couple days or week before we actually get to our draft.
We actually had talked about possibly doing a top 5 at the skill positions. Doing a top 5 for each skill position. We also briefly talked about doing maybe a mock draft or 2 of our own, as opposed to the one that the game does, because we all know that that's not very useful. The one thing that I will say that everybody needs to be aware of, when you pick at the beginning of the season, when you pick your national scout, make sure that guy is at a position that you intend to draft. Because the only way you get 100% of scouting info on anybody is if you make them a priority search a priority scout in week 11, I think, or if you do a private workout with them in the 3rd week of free agency. Then you get all of their info and you get their talent level. Only if they're in the position that your national scout is. So picking your scout now became super important.
Yep, I think it's going to be setting up for a fun. I can't wait to see the content that you guys come up with, number one, but I think it's going to set up for a really fun draft. And I think a lot of people are going to learn a lot of lessons. And I know you, and I've seen you in chat, and you seem like I may have you read wrong, but you feel very OCD about figuring these things out. Like you love to figure things out, and you're good at it. I like that you don't get 100% on anyone. Like, I don't think you should ever know everything about any player going into the draft. There should always be a lot of layers of unknown of what are we getting to. And I think we might see some of it. I don't think we'll see a lot of it, but I think we'll see some of it.
What bugs me or what drives me with that figuring things out stuff is my head says there's got to be a method here.
Yeah.
Why is it in and I'm going to use Deuce as an example. In Deuce, my national scout gives me 95% on every player in his position. In here, it only gives me 80. And then Ross, for example, only got 70 on his guys. What's this variation? What's going on there? Is it because of the scout? Because it doesn't give me a breakdown of what, when you go to choose a scout, it doesn't give you a breakdown of what this guy's going to be better than this guy or that guy's going to be better than that guy. Because then we'd all be fighting over the same wall.
Yeah, we would. Well, I like it. I can't wait. I just can't wait to. I think the thing that I love about such an in-depth, great league with great owners, but also I kind of hate is that like it feels like all the good players are going by round 2, and it just feels like you're like drafting for like some maybes and some like full-time backups and practice squad guys by round 4. And it's just kind of ugh. And so it feels good that we may be able to see more of like in round 4 or 5, like drafting a potential starter, which happens all the time in the NFL. And so I'd love to see this here. Last thing, because I know you got one more thought, and then we're going to go to 2 owner-submitted questions real fast, or 2 owner-submitted questions, and then we'll put a bow on this show and get to bed. But I want to hear your comment that I know that you have. And then can you give people as much of a peek behind the curtain of what you and Wynn have worked on for next year's draft?
My final thought here is there are a couple of guys, probably a handful, maybe 10, that are lower ranked guys. And unless you had a national scout in that position, you're not going to find them. Somebody's going to trip over them in round 4, round 5, round 6. And that's what's going to happen. And they're not, they're going to pound their chest. Oh, I marked that guy.
So before you share the peek behind the curtain, I'll peek behind the curtain of how this was a Madden generated draft, and I went through there. I didn't record them. I can't even tell you what I did. Some of you will believe it. Some of you won't. I don't really care. I'm telling you what I did. I just went through there one afternoon, spent an hour randomly, like took a couple of the like high guys and like try to tweak them to where they could be possible bust. Maybe you don't. Maybe you fix them. And I picked a couple like 10 low round guys and like made them have a couple attributes that you could build upon and maybe like find a sleeper. But that has changed for the rest of our drafts moving forward because Raj, number one, is a draft creator, and he offered to create some drafts. But then we put his brain together with Wynn's brain, a little head coach sprinkled in, a little of other things, and a massive spreadsheet was birthed. So give people a little peek of what they can expect coming forward.
We actually, Wynn and his spreadsheet mastery, put together a completely random draft creator for every position. And we've got, we
that's balanced, right?
It's completely balanced. We went by the Madden counts, and we went, 25 players in the quarterback, 30 players in running back, 50 in wide receiver. But it's very balanced. It's more balanced than any Madden draft that I've ever seen. And I've put in probably, I think Wynn's got 120 players put into his so far, and I've got about 97 put in mine. And it's well balanced. It's not, with Madden, you'll notice there's usually this huge drop off. You'll have one guy that's like a 77, and then it drops down, and the next guy's like a 71, and then you got a bunch of 60. We're more balanced, and it's more spread out over the board, and you got a better chance of getting something workable as opposed to a fistful of 50 overall guys.
Is that you, Raj? Did you get the shh?
Yeah.
Oh, look at him. Raj got the shh. We all get the shh sometimes. I love it. Well, let's put a bow on the show. Thank you, and Wynn. I wish Buckman was here. We'll get him back for the next couple of shows, though. I know also Ross is working on some draft stuff, and looks like there might be a little heat there between Mel Kiper and Buckman. So we'll see how that plays out. Smash's question, I think, is pretty easily. Will the OMFL use X Factor in strong safety, listen to me, superstar abilities again? The answer is probably not. We may bring it back for the last season. I know I like to change things for that last season. Things usually feel stale by then. People are just trying to survive the summer. So who knows? Maybe the last season. Who also knows what I'm doing next week? Like telling you today with the information that I have today, the answer is no. It feels less arcadey. It feels more like stats matter. Good players float to the top without like this weird animation crap taking place. And I think that's what happens, is that those superstar abilities and those X factors trigger animations. And this game's already so animation based. I like it without it. Who knows what we're going to do in the future? again, telling you today how I feel with this information that I have to work with right now, no, but it could change. So we'll see. I just would say don't get your
I
hopes
have
up
to
until it
agree.
happens.
I've adapted to without it, and it's the difference between playing like Madden or playing NFL Blitz.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would be more open to it if we could get the numbers way smaller, Smash, but we just can't. The bottom number for X Factor is 40. I personally don't believe there should be 40 elite players in a league. And I think the smallest is like 200 superstar. That's a lot of players. And we know what happens. The guys who work it, they're not rule breakers. They don't do anything weird. They work it, right? They work their team. They don't produce content. They don't do anything else, but they work their team, and they get the payoff for that. And they end up, selling to these guys who have dreams in their head of building a super team from the draft, and they end up, building these super teams. And I like it with it off. But who knows what we'll do moving forward. Outlaw says, have you thought of making an incentive, maybe platinum, where you could upgrade a player to their current Madden rating, a breakout player in reality that would get their ratings boost? Outlaw, never thought about it. I think that's a neat idea, something I can toss out at the board. I'm always looking for new incentives, especially when it comes to donations. It's very expensive to run this place. It's usually literally like 2 to 3 guys that end up carrying us. Last year, we almost ran out of money. It's usually me and usually two other guys who donate the biggest pot to the running this whole place. And so anything that makes it appealing to, for guys that donate $10, that $10 goes a long way. I say that. It used to go much longer than it used to. So our Super Bowl trophies used to cost us $22. So every season, $22 out the window, gone, plus 100,000 other things that we paid for. It now costs me $40 to send a trophy. So it's doubled. And so I've been real stingy. I've canceled some things and moved some things around and talked the wife into, if we run out of money, we're going to have to toss some money in here, more money and toss in here. But anyway, it gives you an idea. I think it's a neat idea, and I'll toss it by the board. I don't know. I think it's neat. I like those types of ideas. Raj, I don't know if you had any thoughts about that.
I think, and I've been in leagues before where they, where they would do things like that, and there would just be a charge for it. I mean, you want, they set a limit. They go, you can have, 2 upgrades of whatever, and it costs $10 to get it, or $20 to get it. And the guys that want it, they pay for it.
Yeah.
The guys that don't pay for it, if it's available to everybody, and you make the conscious decision to not pay for it, then you've got nothing to bitch about.
Yeah. His second question, what are you expecting from the draft with the scouting update? Do you think people miss on certain players? What changes do you see it impacting the game going forward? I'm going to default to Raj on his thoughts on this. I don't have any thoughts, Outlaw. I think, what do I think? I think I don't know. I think this is all going to be learning. I haven't even dove into the draft. I haven't looked at my scouting players in weeks. I'm so busy doing off season. Overwhelms me. It's super busy. It takes a lot to make it happen. And so I haven't even looked at mine. I got to look at it this week because I got to help Raj out with some stuff. And I need to start making a plan. But I don't really have any thoughts. Raj, what are your thoughts about his question?
If you didn't prepare properly in the beginning, and if you didn't pay attention when you set your scouts, when you set their positions, and when you set your national scout position, and when you picked your 3 project players in week 11 or 12 or whatever week that is, if you didn't do that, you're gonna have a hard time, because before, in the old system, we had 3 attributes that mattered to their position. Now, you get 4 random attributes that some of them have absolutely no don't factor
Yeah.
in what that guy's going to do at all. I mean, do you care whether your punter can throw a medium accurate pass? I don't. That particular thing doesn't matter. Does it matter if your quarterback can run around? No. But that may be one of the traits that they uncover. If you didn't prepare and you're going into this with 40% blind, with only 40% scouted and the rest is blind, you got a lot of guessing. You got a lot of guessing.
It's going to set up for...
leads to missing.
I'm hoping it sets up for some drama. I'm hoping that it sets up for some sleepers, some steals. I hope it just sets up for fun, because there's nothing better. Again, we talk about it here all the time. There's nothing better. Still today, I still argue this. I've had some good... I enjoy the game. I do. I know it's not popular opinion. Whatever. I enjoy the game. I love our settings. It feels good. There's nothing better to me today still than a good back and forth game of Madden. There's also nothing better than a great draft where people are super engaged. People are making plans to be on remote draft or be in the chat and engaging. And there's the fights of, I want that player, 2 more picks. And, like just some great conversation. So that's what I'm hoping for. Last question, Raj, and I've got a quick answer on this one. I'm gonna let you go first. What is your biggest surprise team?
My biggest surprise team for this year?
Yeah, he's he kind of left it open ended. I'm kind of looking at it from the playoffs, but if you want to talk about the season, it's open ended.
For the season, I'm going to say Ross, because he came in not expecting to do very well. He did not come in going, I'm going to... And he tore off some good stuff there, and he laid some good teams down. He played some good ball, so... Yeah. Right now, I got to give Ross a pat on the back there, especially with all he had going on with his high school team and being in the state championships and all that. He laid down some good stuff.
I cannot argue or debate that at all. He did have a lot going on. I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings. I gave Maniac a hard time tonight, and I patted him on the back. I'm going to end with a pat on the back. I think we call that a compliment sandwich. Compliment and some feedback and some whatever. I think he has been a massive surprise this playoffs. We know the kind of player he can be, and he has proven it on the field. Massey's playing out of his mind. He's got that guy playing on an elite level, and he's not there attribute-wise yet. He's not turning the ball over. He's playing stingy defense. I mean, Maniac is doing all of the things that you're supposed to do right. And I'm telling you now, if he beats the Cardinals and gets to the OMFL Bowl, you're going to have 2 of the hottest teams that the OMFL has almost ever seen. I mean, we've seen some hot teams. We've seen the D-Waynes and the D-Moneys go in there, 17-0 by then or whatever, 18-0, whatever it was. We've seen those, but we've never seen 2 teams just on a complete tear meet up. And my hope is that that's what happens, and we get to see some fresh meat, some fresh names, some fresh faces, and I just hope they have a really good game and just an instant classic ball game. I think it would be good for the league, and it would be good for both of them, because I know it's very important to both of them, their pursuit of an OMFL ball. So I hope it happens. So that's going to bring us to the end of our show. I've argued with myself. We've went long. Just recording, we've been an hour and 20, and I know on live before we had to take it down, it was like 40 minutes or whatever. That hot seat, man, that hot seat gets away. It's supposed to be rapid fire, and I got these guys giving 8-minute long answers. We got to work on that rapid fire, but I love Clyde so much, and I was glad that he was able to do that. I think, again, it would be easy to get on here and puff my chest out as a commissioner, which is nothing. It literally is a made-up thing. It means nothing. It can't go on a resume. It doesn't get me a raise. My wife could care less. Like, it doesn't. It's made up. And I don't want to be one of those humans that get all puffy head about a made-up thing. I've seen it in the Madden community. I've experienced it. I don't want to be that. I'm sure I have been that sometimes. I've been doing it for 20 years. I've grown over 20 years, but I don't want to do that now. I will say I'm very disappointed in some of the conversations I've seen, some of the conversations I was forced to be a part of. I've said this on here before, and I'll say it one more time. The thing that speaks to me most as a human is relationship. And the way that relationships speak to me is loyalty. And the guys who show loyalty to me as the leader of this community and to my community that we have built as a group, because we've all been a part of this, those are the guys that hold special place in my heart. Dwayne is my dude. We've never met. I don't know if we ever will get to meet. I hope one day. But he's my dude because that dude has been loyal, which means he's had my back. He's been here ride or die. He's worked. Sorry, there's my cough. It's back finally after 2 hours. I'm trying to hold it in so I don't cough again. That speaks loyalty. Getting messages that you're going to quit every 3 times a season, not loyal. Reading stuff like I read in the chat sometimes, not loyal. Taking some things way too seriously without being an adult and having a one-on-one conversation with me, not loyal. That just doesn't jive with me. And this is the kind of person I am, Rod. Just like, I open up real quick. You've probably experienced that with me. Me and you didn't. I mean, we knew each other and we talked, especially with the NASCAR league, but until you kind of joined here, we didn't talk like every day. I let people in real quick. I swing the doors open far and wide fast. But equally, once you've thrown that away, you've hurt that, I'm done. And it's not like I'm done forever, like I throw you away. Like, I don't wish bad things on people, but you're not coming in again. You're going to be a good dude over there. You're just going to be good over there in that corner. You're not coming real close to me again, because that's like once you cross that line, it doesn't happen again. So it doesn't make me right or wrong. This is who I am. This is how I lead. This kind of person I am. You do you. And I'm just disappointed that it feels like the vibe of this first season, it got thrown off with the PlayStation 5 thing. Then it got thrown off by the delayed start. Then it got thrown off by what settings. But we finally hit a stride. And in a time where we have so much access to content creating opportunities, I've seen the least amount of content being created for our league in particular. I've seen owners here that I hold at a very high level of ownership as influencers in my league create content for other leagues and not this one. That stuff hurts. That stuff feels like it is a message that's being sent of where we rank in priority. And it's just like, it's not that people have to create content. And really, it's done the opposite for me, Raj. It's made me go, okay, I'm just going to I'll do it all. If that's what it comes down to. If no one wants to help create content, I'll come up with new shows. No one wants to be on all 22, I'll freaking do all the all 22s until people are like, yo, please, I got to hear another voice. I'll come do one. If no one wants to do a hot seat, I'll do something. Like, I'm just not begging anymore. I'm creating content to engage people. I'm trying to empower people with music, graphics. I'll teach you how to do stuff. Like, I'm doing all kinds of stuff to empower people, to make it easy. The game gives us so many new things that we could be creating easy, fast content, like power rankings. No one does power rankings. I did power rankings. It took me like 3 minutes. It took me maybe 45 minutes to put together the graphic and figure out how I'm going to do it on the stream and all that. I'm just saying it's easy to create content. and we're seeing the least amount of content. I just hope, I'm challenging this league to create content, to engage, even if it's written content, even if it's like chat content. I don't care. Like Beal, right? He's just doing that for chat, but he's putting together the playoff rankings, all the time. Like, that's engaging content. Shame on this owner. I already told you shame on you, but I'm not going to say your name. But an owner messaged me today saying, I don't know why no one wants to talk OMFL. No one wants to create content. No one wants to do anything on Twitter. It's dead. And all these other leagues are creating more content. And I told them that doesn't help me at all. Like, it doesn't make me feel better. It doesn't encourage me. It doesn't make more content get created. Instead of you coming to me, go create some content. Lead by example. Yeah. So that is my nice Nate rant as we close out the night.
Hey, Nate.
2 words I want to add to this.
Hold on one second, Brady. Go, Raj.
Personal integrity. That says it all.
Yeah. Look, listen, we have good dudes in this league. I don't want to add to that. We just have good humans in this league. So I believe if you create something from a good foundation, it will attract the right people, and the right people will stay. I think what I've seen happen is the focus of what we are as a community. In my eyes, family, brotherhood, community, all the things I hear other communities say about their league that make me go, yeah, that's what I hope people say about us, but I don't know if they do. I don't know what people say about us. I just know what I say about us. But like brotherhood, community, friends, like I've met 00. I hope one day to meet Dwayne. I hope one day to meet Smash. He doesn't live far from me. Like, I hope one day I win the lotto and every year I can fly everybody to Puerto Rico for a weekend of OMFL with our family. Like, just stupid dreams. Like I want this to be about that. And I get it. I really do. I get that winning and competing and proving yourself is important to some people. I just feel like this season, that was the leading thing for a lot of our outspoken, active, engaged owners. And look, I've said this about business. I've said this about my profession. 2 things. And then we're going to wrap it up and get out of here. And Brady popped in. I've seen him in here for a while, but he spoke up. So I'm sure he's got something. Number 1, I think I said this on the podcast recently. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I said it to somebody else in life. But I love wrestling. And there's a bunch of reasons why. I don't care what people think. I think it is athletic art. These people are doing things with their body that most humans cannot do, and telling stories through an athletic art form. And I find that super intriguing. It's not about all the gimmicky stuff about wrestling. I think it is nothing more beautiful than when men and women tell a story with their bodies through athletic competition. People who say it's fake, guess what? So is CSI and CSI New York and all these other shows. I can't even think of them because I don't watch a lot of TV. But like all the others, every other show, these are scripted actors who there's not real people. They don't show up and act like that. Like they're doing this anyway. That's a long story. But anyway, there was a announcer, Michael Cole, right? Been doing the WWE for 30 years, whatever. And they were talking to him about his success and his longevity. And he says, it's easy. I do what they tell me to do. If you go to McDonald's and you work for McDonald's and they say make a Whopper, a Big Mac, and you make a Whopper, you're going to get fired. So in professional life, I just say like it's easy. You play by the rules that are being created. And if you do that correctly and build relationships, you get promotions. It is not only the people who are great at their job and really smart who get promotions. It's the people who played by the rules, who did what they were supposed to do, who went above and beyond and built really great relationships. Those are usually the people who get promoted to one day they get paid for more than they do, which is where I hope I am one day, because I've been doing a lot of years of doing a lot of work that I don't get paid to do. And the second thing is that as a leader, the people on my bus are the people that I like. And if you've done things, if I've done things, if we don't jive, then you don't get to be on my bus. It's my bus. That's just the way it works. And if I'm a follower and I come to your bus and you don't like me, then I don't have a right to be on your bus no more. It's like, you have to surround yourself with people that you like. And as I lead the OMFL, that's the way it always has been. I give tons of chances. All of you know, I don't boot people. I just don't, unless it just gets to a place where it just is just, I have a choice. My hand is forced to let people go. And those are tough. I hate those conversations. Even if I really don't like the person, I just don't like doing that, because I want to create a space where people can make mistakes and they can learn lessons and they get better as humans, and we can all stick together and we have longevity. But with that said, you don't get to come at me just any way you want to come at me. It don't work that way. You can't just walk into your business one day where you're employed, where you get a paycheck, and say whatever you want to say to your boss, however you want to say it, whenever you want to say it. Couillon, you're going to get fired. There's going to be somebody else that's going to get paid less that's going to do your job, and they'll take it tomorrow. Like, I just feel like because of the way I am, and because we're internet, right? None of us get to see each other. Very few of us actually get on voice. None of us have real relationship. We just have these internet relationships. That removes kind of this facade of being nice. Like, people just aren't kind sometimes. And I deal with a lot of DMs and a lot of people who aren't kind. And it just kind of got to me this week. So I would say be kind, or like we say here in New Orleans, leave. Those are your two options. You can be a nice person. And you don't have to like me. Don't like me. I don't care. I'm not here for everybody to like me. Some of you won't. I totally get it. Don't watch Press Pass Live. Don't watch my streams. Play your games. Do the things that the rules say you're supposed to do, and you'll be good. Be nice, or you're going to have to find somewhere else to play. Or maybe you already play somewhere else, and you don't care. Okay, if that's another thing. Like, if you don't want to be here, I don't want you here. I want people who want to be here. I've never said that I want people to pick and choose, but I want people who play here to view this as like their number one, their place where they produce content for, their place where they put effort into their team, they try to schedule, like they do all the things that are important to the league. Because if I view that we've been here for 20 something years, and yeah, there's a lot of good leagues out there, a lot of good commissioners. I've watched a lot of them come and go over 20 years, all of them. We are the longest one, and the reason is because I run this thing a certain way, and I would hope that people would go by that. Anyway, that's a much longer rant than anything I wanted to do. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure I'm going to get 50 DMs about it, and I'm not trying to poke. I don't poke the bear. If I got an issue with you, I'm going to come to you. It's a show. Sometimes I got to do things to be entertaining. And so this isn't all of us just patting each other on the back, talking about the good things and the fun things. So I've said that a zillion times. People still get turned out about what I do here. It's a show. It's nothing more. I'm not doing this as a commission. I'm just like trying to make this fun and entertaining. And sometimes that means saying some goofy stuff to make people engage and talk back. So anyway, Brady, I've rambled for longer than I want. It's 11:30. I got to get my old coughing butt to bed. I'll let you give some thoughts, and then I'm going to put a bow on this thing.
Nah, man. The main reason why I'm jumping in the chat real quick is to you, the board, and to everyone else in the league. There was a situation that happened this week in the divisional round. There was some stuff that was said in the chat. Maybe I didn't handle the situation correctly. And I just want to apologize to all the admins and also Makey, Mr. Nips, because ultimately, as much as I want to win it all, there's still the right way to go about doing things, and I just wanted to apologize. That's it.
I appreciate it. Brady's a lot of things, and being a real man who owns his stuff is one of them, and he's never shied away from that. And it is what it is on some of those things. I knew you weren't with us earlier, but I kind of gave my thoughts, I think, before we had to take the live one. I don't remember when I did, but I gave my thoughts on that a while back. I think just bad communication and on all the party. It just, sometimes those things happen. Like, that's the oh gosh, Raj, why am I doing this? Okay, next time we come back, I got to rant about FPR, because I definitely have a rant about FPR. We're not robots, people. We're all humans. And I get it, we're online, and 99% of you, 99% of the interactions is through a text message where you get a photo this big of who the human is, and the only judgment that you have about them is the interactions about their gameplay or their scheduling or whatever it is that you've had. That's the only thing you know about that person as a human. You don't know what they're going through, what their family's going through. Brady freaking coaches like 19 basketball teams. He acts, he does voice stuff, he's a substitute teacher, he's got boys and a family and a wife. Like, we just don't know what people are going through, and it's so easy to kind of get caught up in the stuff that don't matter. My message today to my church was all about figuring out what matters in your life, because it determines the direction of your life. And most of the stuff we get flustered about, including me here, just don't matter at the end of the day. If I shut this all down tonight, you all would be okay. We would all be okay. We would all move on with our lives. Most of you would find other leagues. Some of you wouldn't. But I promise you, tomorrow the sun would come up, the sun would go down, and life would move on, and we would figure it out. And so this idea, especially around FPR, but in this situation specifically, we're not robots, people. And I'm sick of guys picking out, we literally have an owner here giving 1s and 2s for every game on scheduling. Every game they're giving 1s and 2s. Why? What is wrong with you? Are you so, a deeper question of seriously, we're not robots. So stop assuming things about other people. Stop expecting people to be perfect. This idea that every FPR that came in this year, was almost everyone, I think all but 2, every one of them was about one play in the game. One play. We picked out one play and sent FPR over one play. That drives me insane. We're not robots, people. We're humans, and sometimes we mess up, and it's okay. FPR is not like this prison that we throw people in, that everybody's got to be perfect all the time. Brady used to tell me this. Oh, I got the rules printed out next to me, and that just used to make me feel so terrible as a leader of literally, for guys that quote unquote have fun and play here and make relationships, they have to have a paper printed out next to them so that they follow all the rules. Oh my God, that just drove me insane. So anyway, next week, FPR rant, I'll do it. Until then, Brady, Smash was in and out of here. My guy Jason, Roger, Wynn couldn't join us, but he did so much work. Thank all of you for everything. Until next time, I love you. Peace, love, hair grease, like Brady says. Love on somebody this week. Let them know what they mean to you. Until then, peace.
Have a good night. Bye.
Smash that like and subscribe.